Is her love real?
Just because you chose this for her doesn't make it less real.
So I had been looking forward to Obsession ever since I first saw the excellent and intriguing teaser trailer for it. This was after I had seen director Cory Barker's first movie, Milk and Cereal, which I enjoyed and recommend, and I had also seen some of his other work in short-form skits. In my opinion, Barker is a really engaging personality, and the Obsession teaser cemented my excitement regarding his directorial promise and to see him working with a bigger budget on a studio movie. I was also excited that its release date was my birthday weekend as well, and I honestly couldn't have asked for a better birthday movie. First, Obsession has awesome casting with 4 actors in their breakout roles. As soon as Michael Johnston as Bear was on screen, I was struck by how well he was cast for this type of character. And Cooper Tomlinson, a creative partner of Barker's, is super funny in his role as Ian. Megan Lawless as Sarah is a great and subtle emotional fulcrum for the movie. And Inde Navarette is an amazing find as an acting superstar in her role as Nikki that transfixes you to the screen. Her line deliveries, facial expressions, and physical acting are some of the best aspects of Obsession, and Johnston is a great counterpoint to her in their scenes. Once you throw in Tomlinson's comedic moments, then you have an awesome balance of funny and disturbing or unsettling tones. The characters' actions and dialogue effectively convey the film's ideas, as it explores things like cowardice, feeling or being trapped, and different emotions. To me, the movie stands out in its pacing and stylistic elements. The pacing is really effective in making you feel tension all the way through the runtime as apprehension builds and the events of the film escalate. It's always disturbing, and well-executed scares and comedic moments are dispersed throughout, and this to me results in a great tonal balance. The underlying tone is off-putting and unsettling, and this is propped up not just with the characters and scares, but with the oppressive suburban setting, as well as with the stylish filmmaking. Barker shows off a confident directorial hand with the editing, both with the visual and sound editing, which are utilized to make things engaging and scary. His assured vision also comes through with the engaging cinematography and lighting, and these are also super effective with making things scary and interesting to watch. I felt like his shots really allowed me to be locked into the movie because almost every one gave me something to think about. He was using captivating, scary, and unsettling shot compositions, sustained shots, gradual push-ins, and negative space to increase uncertainty and tension. I also appreciated the use of lighting, lack thereof, backlighting, and shadows, which really enhanced those scary shots. The filmmaking is excellent and arresting. Obsession is also staged with a great musical score that added to the atmosphere and my engagement with the film. And it displays well-done and frightening digital editing effects and scary practical makeup effects. Definitely check it out if you haven't yet for the consistent tonal excellence, balancing disturbing and funny elements, the ever-present and incrementally ratcheted tension, unsettling and scary scenes, and stellar performances. I believe this is only the beginning of a promising and exciting career for Cory Barker, and the same goes for Inde Navarette. I have seen Damian McCarthy's other movies, Caveat and Oddity, and I think this one is my favorite because it's the most textually rich, in my opinion. The screenplay is really artfully done and satisfyingly structured, and the story is engaging as it utilizes elements of mystery and seeing how the story will unfold. It also explores some psychological territory within the main character Bauman, played by Adam Scott. I like Bauman as a character and think that he's well written and well played by Scott, and I also want to shout out David Wilmot. Both these performances are well done and funny. Hokum draws upon the tradition of folk horror stories, as well as that of authors going to remote locations, like for instance a getaway inn in the woods to work on their art, if you've seen other horror movies like that before. I liked how the film played with some intertextual material, like Bauman putting his characters in messed up and bleak situations, which connects back to horror movie writers. In Hokum, this inn is said to be haunted, and thus Bauman is confronted and haunted by visions of his past and present. And I liked how some elements of mystery come into play there, and in some other plot elements of the film. I also think Hokum is really well crafted in its cinematography and editing, and the lighting or lack of lighting is the standout artistic element as it's used to enhance our fear. One of my favorite aspects of the movie is the visual cohesiveness, because the motifs presented work well together in the story to convey meaning and increase horror. I also think that these images add to the film's overall depth, so the screenplay and visuals are used together to create a rich product, which is what you want in any movie. The visual ideas are used and reused in engaging ways that make Hokum interesting to think about. To me, the absolute best parts of this movie were the psychological surrealist scenes, which utilized artful visuals and deliberate lighting or lack thereof. These scenes seem to have a lot of thought put into them and showcase the psychological hauntings, which are the emotional core of the film. Overall, I really enjoyed and recommend Hokum. It's haunting and engaging. Now, given some of the reception to this movie, I thought I would maybe be ending this video on a down note, but I was very pleasantly surprised with this one. I thought the conversation around this movie's title was fun to witness. If you didn't see it, basically, people were making jokes about how the director's name is in the title. But from a practical standpoint, I do understand why the filmmakers did it that way, because there are a lot of The Mummy and The Mummy adjacent movies out there. So I get it, they want you to know that it's a The Mummy, but a new The Mummy. As you can deduce, this Mummy movie was directed and written by Lee Cronin, who also wrote and directed Evil Dead Rise, which I enjoyed, and I'm glad to say that I enjoyed this movie from him as well. The setup is actually pretty similar to Rise, as they both start with a cold open to ready the stage, and then center a family in supernaturally based peril. The patriarch of the Mummy's family is played by Jack Reynor, who you probably recognize from Ari Aster's Midsommar. The supernatural elements in The Mummy lend themselves to what I can now recognize as Lee Cronin's style, consisting of frenetic craziness in the plot and gore alongside fun, stylish, engaging filmmaking. I'm excited to see whatever Cronin does next, as he's now patented this entertaining nastiness. The story's fun to go along with and really well paced. Going into this, I thought I might feel like it was too long, as it's over 2 hours, but I didn't think that at all, as I was having a great time and wanted to see what crazy thing was going to happen next. The Mummy also utilizes a fun element of mystery as characters try to investigate and decode what's going on in their world. So we have the gore and supernatural elements, and they're enhanced by the frenetic and passionate filmmaking, which I was really impressed with. The cinematography is really fun and engaging. I enjoyed the multiple split diopter shots that were used, and I always recommend more split diopter shots in any movie, but especially in horror movies, because you can show, for example, a threatened character on one side and a horrific supernatural element menacing them on the other side. I also found that the editing in this movie was awesome and really enhanced the humor present. The edit was consistently funny in the ways that it cut to new or different scenes and locations. The movie as a whole was over the top and dramatic in both the story and violence, and the editing definitely increased to this aspect. So I just had so much fun with the edit, cinematography, violence, and the film overall. The pacing is crazy, there's so much stuff happening in this movie, so it's just fun to sit in its wake and see what comes at you next. The Mummy is so frenetic and fun, so I'd say check it out for that reason and for some Cronin nastiness. Give this video a like and subscribe for more. Let's talk in the comments about these movies and all your opinions on them, and then check out my last video for me talking about over 20 interesting movies I saw last month. We can talk about those there if you've seen them, and you can decide if you should see them too if you haven't yet. I'll see you next time.